Welcome to Get Wed,
a podcast to plan your wedding by.
I'm Katie.
And I'm Kerry.
And we're both here as professional photographers
and brides-to-be to help you plan your big day.
Each week we'll discuss a topic that you'll encounter along your wedding planning journey.
And with the help of fellow industry experts, we'll navigate this crazy wedding world
together.
Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. This week we've got Sarah joining us from the Travel Counsellors to chat all about honeymoons, which is a subject loads of people have been asking us about, but Katie and I don't feel very qualified to chat about it. So we're really pleased to have an actual professional here with us this week. So welcome to the podcast, Sarah. Could you tell us a little bit more about you and your business?
Yes, of course. My name's Sarah Yandell. I've worked in the travel industry for more than 25 years, so I've got a lot of experience in different aspects of travel. And I've run my own business as a travel counsellor for nearly 2 years. And what's different about what we do is we offer a very personal level of service. So we really get to know the customer and make sure that we put together a holiday that is perfect for them. We offer 100% financial protection on everything we book. And because I'm backed by a large company, although I'm self-employed and give a personal service, I am backed by a large company. We've got over 1,500 travel counsellors around the world. So that means we've got great buying power, and it means I can put together really unique holidays, putting together all the different elements, the flights and the hotels, because we work directly and have great relationships with all of the suppliers. So it means I can really sort of put something quite unique together for a customer, which is just what they're looking for.
Yeah, that's really good. So when would you recommend that somebody might sort of get in touch with you and start planning their honeymoon?
Well, I would say probably between 6 and 9 months, ideally, because depending on what they want to do, but if they're looking for a long haul flights, then they can be booked up to 9 months before travel.
Wow.
And the earlier you book, then most likely the better prices you can get. And also I think it's quite nice to start the planning early, because then you can sort of get that little bit out and done before you get too involved with all the other wedding preparations as well. So you're not trying to doing that at the last minute. As I say, it does depend on the destination. If it's a shorter haul destination, you can't book it quite so far ahead. But I think the planning of it is good to start, as soon as you can, really, just to get some ideas, discuss some thoughts. The longer you've got really to sort of have a think and do some research and talk to people about what you want to do, the better, really. But in terms of booking, I'd say 6 to 9 months is ideal.
That's good advice, because as soon as I got involved in the actual wedding planning, I couldn't even bear to think about a honeymoon. I was just like, there's too much to plan.
I think it's nice to have that booked, and then you've got that to look forward to when you're sort of getting a little bit stressed with everything else. You can kind of think, at the end of that, I've got all this organised already, and we can just go off and enjoy ourselves and relax after the event. So I think it's nice to have it planned.
I think it's quite a good
idea. Plus you can budget
then
too, can't you, really? You can sort of prepare your money for that. And
Yes. Yeah, and I think, it's generally not the case that you could get last minute sort of better pricing. It's very unusual, and for something like a honeymoon, you don't really want to do that anyway. You want to sort of have something planned, and you generally do get better prices the further out. And if you're a little bit flexible about when you travel as well, when you're doing it further out, it means the person who's looking after it for you can look at different options and different sort of dates around that time and come up with a really good prices for what you're looking for.
I really like the idea of handing it off to someone like you as well, because that's again like one more planning thing that you haven't got to deal with. You can just kind of be like, I like the look of this destination, and then you can just go away, do all the research, because I hate booking holidays. It's the one thing I just can't stand, is like researching where I'm going. I just get really fed up.
I agree. And it's horrible too, like having that pressure, isn't it? Like if it's not perfect, you feel like it's your fault if you've kind of booked it and done it all, I think.
And I think if you've obviously, there's going to be 2 of you planning this, so I think it's also quite nice having a third party doing that, because I think if one of the 2 is doing all the organising, it can get a little bit stressful, because you want to make sure it's right for both of you. And if anything goes wrong, you sort of feel you're the one who's messed it all up. So that wouldn't be great, would it? Not a great start to married life.
No, exactly. So what is the best way, do you think, to decide on the honeymoon location? Because I think it's like that pressure of like that one time in your life where you can book an amazing holiday, isn't it? So where do you even start?
Oh, yes. Well, I think first of all, obviously there's two of you, as I said. So I think the first thing is to talk with your partner. Hopefully you know them quite well by this time and know the sort of things they like, but you might not have discussed in detail what you want for a really special holiday like a honeymoon. So I think it's getting a feel for what you both like in common, because one of you might really like lying on a beach for 2 weeks and the other one wants to climb a mountain. So, you need a bit of a compromise, or a bit of both, really. Obviously, the time of year, how long you want to go for. How long can you take off work, for example? Can you both take 2 or 3 weeks off or not? Or can you only take a week off? And that will make a big difference to where you go. Because if you've only got a week, then that's going to sort of cut down some of the destinations because of the time it takes to get there. And obviously the time of year in terms of the weather and the best time to travel. So I think that's the starting point, really. Just get lots of ideas of what you like doing. And obviously think about where you've been already that you like, and what would work in terms of somewhere new, and somewhere exciting and memorable, hopefully.
Yeah. And do you find there are certain trends of places that are popping up that people want to go to more now, or?
I think people are getting more adventurous. The Maldives will always be very popular for a honeymoon destination.
Yeah, I wanted to go there. Until I looked at the prices, then I couldn't go there.
Yeah, it's, if you're looking for real romance, just the two of you, time together, relaxing after sort of quite a busy sort of time up to the wedding, then it is a great destination, as is the Seychelles. I would say people are a little bit more wanting to do more than that, though. So they quite often would say combine the Maldives with somewhere like Sri Lanka, which is more of a sort of touring destination. So quite a nice thing to do is sort of, if you've got a couple of weeks to play with, to do a week in one destination and then sort of go to a week just where you've got nice beach to relax on. Then you sort of get to do a bit of both, really. But the Maldives, Sri Lanka and the Maldives is definitely one of the most popular honeymoon choices.
Yeah, I did Sri Lanka for my 30th birthday. We did like a touring thing, and everyone on that same kind of in the same location doing the same tours were all on their honeymoon, apart from me and Russell, who I'm obviously now married to. But it's before we were married, so we're like meeting up with all these like newlywed couples, and I was like, I haven't even got engaged.
Oh, you didn't go back there for your honeymoon then? Yeah. You went somewhere else, I assume.
No, we went somewhere else. But we booked something really last minute. We ended up going to Ischia, which is like Naples, isn't it? Near to Naples. But we kind of weren't planning one at all. So we were just going to do like a week away with the dog somewhere, and then plan something later, like down the line. But we got so fed up with the weather that we were like, quick, let's book a last minute holiday. In the end, but...
Yeah, no, definitely.
So do you have any... sorry, you go.
I can't remember what we were saying now. Just about what was the most popular, really, from you were saying. Yeah, I just think people are getting a little bit more adventurous in terms of what they want to do. So although people will still go to those places, the world is there's so many things that you can do. Sort of like a city destinations are quite popular. If you want something that you want a bit of culture and something like that, that's quite a popular thing to do. Italy's always popular because it's a romantic destination, and there's lots of places. If you're just going for a short haul destination, that's got great for everything, really, I think, in Italy. So yeah.
What advice would you give for booking somewhere a bit different then, sort of get out of your comfort zone? Do you think just go for it and be brave, or what would you say?
Well, you should talk to an expert like myself for definite. I think obviously you want to make sure when you book it that you're going to really enjoy it, so you don't want to do anything too outside your comfort zone, I don't think. And you need to both agree on what you want to do. So as I say, I think if you have a little bit of a mixture, so you have some time that is quite comfortable and relaxed and so on, and then just do a little bit of activity around that. So it's not like the whole holiday is climbing mountains or sort of doing zip wiring across Costa Rica or something like that. A lot of people will do safaris and things as well. That's quite a popular thing. But it depends on individual personalities. Everyone's got a different idea of what they want and how adventurous they might be. But I think it's just making sure everything's really well organised before you go. You're not sort of taking any risks with anything in terms of what you've booked, because you don't want anything to go wrong. So it's got to be 100% organised, I think.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for how couples can start to save or budget for the honeymoon, and how much they kind of should prepare to be spending on this trip of a lifetime?
Yes. Well, yes, been a trip of a lifetime. There will be more trips as well after this, but yeah, I mean, I've done the honeymoons I've done. I've done a few sort of ones in Europe. So like I've done some in Sicily, Greece. I mean, you're probably looking for just a sort of week's honeymoon. About, if you're staying with somewhere really nice, it's probably about £3,000 you'd be looking for. If you're looking for something like 2 weeks, Maldives, something like that, it's probably more like about £10,000. So it is kind of down.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
that's like a kitchen. It'd be worth it though if you could. I'm sure it would be worth it if you could.
Much more memorable than the kitchen, though.
Yeah, true. Very true.
Yeah, I mean, it does come down to what you do, really. You can have a very nice honeymoon for about 3,000, but from then on upwards, it's really down to the destination, but more than anything, the actual accommodation, because you can stay in a very nice 3-4 star hotel, or you can go for a really market luxury hotel, and it costs a huge amount more money. So it is really down to personal preference in terms of what you want to spend.
I suppose there's always those people as well who like the idea of upgrading their flights and things on honeymoons as well.
Yes, yeah, I mean, if with a long haul flight, it can make a big difference to the experience. So it depends on the airline and where you're going, how good a value it is and how much it's worth doing. But yes, if you're going anywhere sort of long haul or as far as Australia or New Zealand, it's definitely worth looking at the upgrades, because they can make a big difference to the comfort level.
Yeah.
I was so determined to get upgraded on our flight to Ischia, but it didn't happen at all. But walking up to those, like checking, like, oh, we've just got married, like you're trying to drop all the hints.
Yeah,
didn't work.
They did it not? I thought that always works. Oh, shame.
Yeah. No, sometimes it does. I mean, hotels are very good. I mean, when we book, we always save people on honeymoons, and because we work directly with a lot of hotels and we have good relationships with them and give them a lot of business, they do really look after our customers. So if it was a honeymoon couple, they would definitely do something special for them. So that's really nice. I mean, I think places like the Maldives, honeymoons are their bread and butter, really. So they're very used to spoiling people and really looking after them. So yes.
And do you find it's a real trend for people to delay their honeymoons and do like a little mini moon and do it a bit later on, or are you finding less people doing that now?
No, it's still quite popular. I mean, I think it does tend to be people who've they've done a really big wedding, lots of people involved and lots of arrangements, and they've got the budget to do a small holiday and then another holiday later. So it does come down to kind of the budget. So I think it does tend to be the people who've spent or got a bit more to spend, I should say, on the whole wedding honeymoon experience. And I think it depends also, if you're both working and you've got sort of quite busy jobs, it's finding the time you can both take off work as well as fit in with your career and where you want to go. So yes, I think sometimes it's just a case of have a little break and then think about doing something big a bit later on when it works with it works with everything else. Yeah,
I think the danger with mini moons is that you take your mini moon and then you never take your honeymoon.
Yes, I was going to say that actually. It sort of gets to be that, oh, we'll do it next year, and then you have a baby.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Or you need the kitchen done.
And some people do actually take their children on honeymoon. So I've had a few like that where they're already had their family before they get married.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh yeah, people actually take their children on honeymoon with them, so everything's possible.
Yeah, especially when you get an expert's help, I'm sure. So I need to just speak to you and then make sure I book it, don't I?
Have you not had a honeymoon yet then?
No, I just did like a mini moon and never got. Well, we couldn't agree. We couldn't agree on where to go, so it just never happened because I couldn't be bothered to keep arguing about it. We do get on normally. Sorry, that sounds like we've got a really bad marriage, but that's the only thing we couldn't agree on.
I mean, it is a big thing, though. So that's what I say. Talk a lot. I suggest talk to each other. Quite a lot about it before you make any decisions, because you all have differences of what you want to do and what you don't want to do. So there's some compromise involved, or as I say, do a two-centre, and then one person can choose one, and one person can choose the other. Then you get to experience what the other person really likes, and vice versa. And hopefully that will help your relationship.
Doing couples therapy as well as travel counselling.
I know, I bet you do. Oh.
When you have couples that they just can't agree on where they want to go. I've had that quite a few times. But at least if I actually meet up with them and sit with them, which I would always do with a honeymoon couple, sort of get to speak to them because it's such an important thing. And then you get to hear what the different views are of each person. And then I'm kind of the one in the middle trying to sort of suggest the compromises so that they're both happy.
Yeah, it's quite a good idea. And one thing that I kind of find really difficult with planning holidays is that I get sucked into all the travel advisor reviews. And I think that people only really tend to leave reviews unless they've had an amazing time or a terrible time, don't they? You don't really tend to get kind of just like average reviews, I guess. So as soon as I find someone that I really like and I think, oh yeah, I like, perhaps we'll book this, and I start reading them, and then it suddenly destroys all hope I had of those things.
I know, and the time just goes, doesn't it, when you start looking at reviews, because you realise you spent ages and ages looking at them, and then you're back to square one because you found one bad. So, I mean, I always look at TripAdvisor because I know everyone else does. But for me, as long as it's 4-star average, then that's fine. And we have our own reviews because we book a lot of hotels over and over again, and we have a lot of reviews from our own customers that have been there, which we know are very genuine. And also we have reviews which are industry reviews, so they're reviews made by travel agents and people within the industry, so they're much sorry, like your little baby.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry,
I was distracting you. Sorry.
The ones that are industry reviews, they're much more balanced because they're done sort of to help other travel people rather than customers who are just wanting to. I don't know. Sometimes they just want to sort of be difficult, I think. So I think be sort of a bit wary of the TripAdvisor reviews. I think if on average it's, as I say, 4-star average, you're pretty much fine. You always have some extremes, but
So if people decided they wanted to come through someone like yourself to plan the honeymoon, how does the process work?
Well, as I say, I like to meet people if I can. So, I mean, I'm based myself in Dedham. So most of my customers are within the sort of geographical area around where I live, so Colchester, Ipswich and those areas. So as long as they're not sort of miles away, I would normally go and visit them at their house if they're happy with that, or we can meet in a coffee bar if that's easier. And first of all, just to find out as much as I can about what people are looking for. So that service, I don't charge anything for that service. So I do all the research in terms of coming up with ideas for them. And then what I'll probably do is put together, say, 3 different suggestions based around what they were looking for and the budget that they're looking for to send to them. So they can have a think about what they want. And so then hopefully one of the 3 things will be just the right thing they're looking for. But obviously I can go back and change things around a bit, and takes long as it takes really to find what's perfect. So it's very much backwards and forwards until we got the right thing that's right, the absolutely right one. Yeah.
And then is all the booking done for you as well? So
Yes. So basically we've got all the systems in place to book the flights and the hotels. So once it's confirmed, generally, hopefully booking reasonably far ahead, so it'd just be a deposit at that stage, and then we normally take full payment around 12 weeks before travel. And once that's done, and then a bit closer to travel, then I put together all the documents and generally meet people again to go through all the documents personally, just to make sure they understand everything. And the other thing is I always check people in for the flights and organise the boarding passes as well, so they don't have to worry about any of that kind of thing. And we also have our own app. It's called the MyTC app, which you can download. And that's really good because basically you can then access all your itinerary and your boarding passes all on your app. So it just makes it much simpler if you just want to quickly check a flight time or have a look at which hotel it was that you've got booked without having to go back to all your documents. It's particularly handy if you're doing an itinerary with quite a few flights involved. If you're doing like say if you're going to America and doing a few different cities in America with internal flights, it just makes it really easy and simple to keep up to date with where you are and what you're doing.
Yeah, that sounds so good. That sounds
like really
really
stress free, like somebody like a fairy godmother planning everything for you and just handing you the tickets.
But the best thing about the MyTC app is it has a countdown on it, which I love. It says 30 days till you go on holiday, 29 days till you go on holiday.
Keep yourself sane when you're going mad with all the wedding stuff as well.
Saying, not long to go. So you probably have that. People probably have that for their wedding, don't they? As well, having a countdown, I should imagine.
Yeah. Oh, that's so nice.
I've gone off on a tangent now, but another question's just popped into my head. And I assume that you've done a lot of travelling. So, where are your favourite places to visit that you recommend?
That's a good question.
As for a honeymoon destination,
just anywhere, I guess. Like, where is what stood out to you?
One of my favourite destinations is South Africa, and I think that would be an excellent honeymoon destination. It's not a beach destination really though, but it's I mean, they have lovely hotels. It's really good value when you get there. You get amazing food and drink for a very good price, and then you can do a safari, but you can do you don't have to go to the parks up near Johannesburg. You can go to Cape Town and just do some around that area, so you don't have to do the whole malaria tablet thing, which is quite good. So it just makes it a little bit easier. It's a bit more relaxed, and you can just spend a few days in a safari park and combine that with Cape Town and the garden route, which are like beautiful beaches and scenery. So that would be where I would probably suggest. But I've been to so many places. I do quite like cities, to be honest. So places like San Francisco. I think beaches, not beaches, cities that are on the water, I think are really nice. So Cape Town I love, San Francisco I love, Sydney as well, quite a long way to go, but and I love Italy, everything about Italy. So,
lovely.
I just feel like I'm
daydreaming.
on
holiday now. I know. I'm like, it's so grey and horrible. I want to go away now.
It's a bit spring-like now, though, isn't it? So,
we're getting there, aren't we? But holiday would be nice.
Well, lovely. Thank you for joining us. Before we end the conversation, do you just want to let our listeners know how they can find out a bit more about you? So if they were interested in booking a honeymoon via you, how they'd go about it?
Yes. Yeah, of course. Well, I've got a website, so you can look up travel counsellors, and if you just put either my name in or just your postcode, if you're nearby, then it will come up with all the travel counsellors close by to you, and you can find my name that way. I've also got a Facebook business page, so again, if you just do a search, Sarah Yandell Travel Counsellors, you should come up with a website and the Facebook page, a bit more information about me, just to sort of read about what I've done, and just give me a call or send me a text message or message on Facebook or email, anything.
Love.
Any of those will work.
Right now.
Plan that honeymoon.
Yeah, I know. Oh, thank you so much for your time today.
You're welcome. Lovely to speak to you.
Thank you very much. We'll speak to you soon. Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Thanks for listening. We really hope that you've enjoyed this episode of Get Wed. Don't forget you can always subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, and while you're there you may as well leave us a review. You can join us for more wedding chat in our Facebook group if you just can't wait until next week. You'll find all the links that you need via our website, including show notes for this episode, over at getwedpodcast.co.uk. We'll see you next time. Happy planning!